You got it.
Hey, all right. All right, everybody out there. This is Motivational Mike, and I want to welcome you all again to another edition of Free Financial Friday. I am going to be a co-host along with my friend, pal, and buddy, Greg. Great Day
Yeah.
Saturday. What was that, Greg? Greg, you good? Are we good?
Yeah, just got to get the echo out.
Oh, okay. Did you? Okay.
Yeah, you can
Let me know.
continue.
Okay, like I said, here's another edition of Free Financial Friday, and we're going to be talking about some great things tonight when it comes to credit repair. Last week, we talked about credit utilization, how much credit you utilize. But this particular Friday, we're going to be talking about your credit, your history, and that's the length of time that you've had those particular accounts on your credit file. Now, this is very, very interesting because we're going to be talking about some things that people can benefit from by way of you having great credit history. I mean, we all know about our own history, when we were in school and all kinds of different types of history. But there's a history that we have and we develop and accumulate over a period of time in the credit industry. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And I'm going to hand over the first part of this to my pal and buddy, Greg. Great Day Saturday. Take it away, Greg.
All right, all right, all right. How's everybody doing tonight? Man, it finally feels
Super.
like spring today, huh? I don't know about where
Oh
you
yeah,
are, but here it does.
spring cleaning, my brother.
Yep. Good time to clean up your credit too, isn't it?
Amen.
It is.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna continue on with our series on credit with our credit challenge. Hope you guys have been following along, as Mike said, and been doing the weekly steps because each step leads to something different and something better. And as you said, tonight we're going to talk about credit history. Okay? So let's get started. Credit history is the age or length of your credit, right? The length of credit history is how long any given account has been reported open. Okay. So this is not an account that you just started up. That's not going to really help your credit score as much. The longer you've had an account open, the better your score is going to be. Accounts with a positive payment history that have no delinquencies are the best. Now, we're going to talk about it later, what the difference is between the positive and negative and how it affects your score. But if you got an account that you had open for a long, long time, but you figure, well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that account. No, keep it open. The longer you have it open, the better your score is going to be. But I want to do the credit history, the whole score. Okay.
You got it.
All right.
Credit
The score.
history. Hmm?
No, go ahead.
Credit history. We addressed the whole score. Now, the score ranges from 300 to 850. Now, this is very important because everybody starts out with 300 points. And you can max that out when you're doing all the right things, hitting all the right bells and whistles, crossing your T's and your I's and doing a great job. You can max it out at 850. So when you do the math and subtract 300 from the 850, you have 550 points that are available for you to work with to build yourself a great score, and also all the other factors that make up your credit score. So credit history accounts for 15% of your credit score. And that's going to equal 82.5 max points. If you don't have any, it can be the hardest to generate if you don't apply suggested strategies. And I'm sure Greg's going to talk about some of those strategies here on in the next slide or two. Go right ahead.
All right, Kim, you want to do this next one?
Yes, I'll do the next one. Okay, what they're doing, what we're going to do is the breakdown. So this is what FICO looks for. So FICO is where they keep your credit scores. Okay, sometimes you have to pay to be able to see your credit scores with FICO. You can get credit scores on the other 3 credit bureaus, but FICO has the most accurate credit score. So what they're looking for when somebody's looking, when you get ready to go buy a car or something, what they're going to be looking for when they look at your credit report, the time length of how open accounts. So how long you've had these open accounts, how long specific account types have been open, because you know there's several different types of accounts. So they look at those types of accounts, how long they've been open. And like you say, the longer you have have accounts open, the better. The better, because especially if you have a good payment history, because that's gonna help boost your credit score, number one, and it'll get you a better opportunity to get that car that we out here trying to get. Then there's the time length since those accounts were used. Now, you know, sometimes people will pay off their credit cards and then they won't use them. But that's not always good, because that sometimes causes whoever you have that account with to close that account. And then anything that's closed is a negative effect on your credit, right? So sometimes you can just buy something and then go and pay it off. You know, don't let a card sit for more than 2 years without being used. You know, don't forget, if you do use it, that you use it. So the best thing for that is you go buy something. So just say for $25. The next day, pay it off. So then you're using that card, you know, and they're not going to close it for non-use.
Amen.
Awesome. I like the way one of our colleagues says, just go buy a stick of gum. I don't know where you get a stick of gum from, but I know what he means.
but sometimes you have to spend, when you use your credit card, sometimes you have to spend a minimum. Sometimes it's a minimum of $25. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. All right. How much history is enough? So the minimum. Oh, it's your turn, Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, go right ahead.
Okay. The minimum needed to generate a credit score is 6 months. Okay. So if you just open up an account and you know it's not at least 6 months long, it's not really going to be reported and help you on your credit report or with your credit score, actually. Okay. Closed accounts can still report on your credit account for credit history. So even though it's accounts for your credit history, it won't account for your credit utilization. Okay. And again, that's why you really want to make sure your credit or your payment history, which we talked about in week 1, is up to speed. And see, it all ties in hand in hand. Hand in hand. Paid on time closed accounts, stay on your report for 10 years. That's a long time.
No,
So
you got to
you
be
want to
kidding me, Greg.
does
10
absolutely.
years, you all. Woo! Sounds like we
Yes,
got to do it
sir.
right.
That's right. Right. If
All
something
right.
you think you did a long time ago and it's still on your credit report, this is why. Why? And this is on time. So that's good. Late payments, closed accounts, stay on your report for 7 years. Okay, this is where people get the idea that after 7 years it falls off your credit report.
Yeah.
This is what they're talking about. Am I right, Kim?
Yes, yeah, you're right. And matter of fact, guys, when you're cleaning up your credit, and you'll see they'll show you the date when this is going to drop. So keep checking, because if it don't drop when it's supposed to drop, then that's when you're going to do one of those letters, and you're going to
Oh,
ask them,
wow.
hey, that was supposed to go off my account and it's still there. So keep an eye out on things like this, because especially if you're trying to build your credit for, to get a car or something, you watching everything. So make sure you watch that too. So, because once it drops off, then they can't use it against you.
Amen. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
What's the solution, Mike?
Oh, wow. Now, this part right here is what I was talking about when I introduced what we're going to be talking about as far as the credit history, because I have utilized this particular section right here in my family. Okay. Authorized user. If you got young people in your family, they're in high school, they graduate, they're going to college. Oh man, what a great way to get them started in the right direction by making them a authorized user. Find a relative or friend with a credit card with good history. And I was one of those persons. So I call the credit card company and added my daughter as a authorized user. And I specifically told them, do not send me another card. So ask to be added to their account as an authorized user. Card owner does not have to give you a card. You will inherit their payment history. Now that's very good because uh, because the rest of the story to that is once that happened, she was able to get some other credit cards, for Forever 21 and some of those other stores, and then she was able to go and purchase herself a car, and she did pretty good. So this section right here is very powerful, but you have to find somebody who has great credit history. All right. Anybody want to
Hey,
add to that?
hey, Kim, you want to kind of explain the difference between this and being a co-signer?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
major difference.
Woo.
Major difference. So, like for this, let's say you had a credit card that had a $10,000 limit, but you didn't have hardly any usage on it. Like let's say you had like $200 or $300. So if you put somebody on there, make them an authorized user with that credit limit, and their credit to debt ratio was really high, this will bring that down and help them. Now, if you made them a co-signer on this card, and well, I had that once. I wasn't keeping up with it. Oh, my son. Okay, so years ago, I gave my son one of my credit cards to use, right? And so he was on there to use it, and he had it in his possession, and I had to keep checking because he was getting more gas and junk at the gas station than a little bit, So I had to finally, just when a new car came out. So the way you can, you can do something to turn that around when it's time for a new card, you just don't get him a card. That's what I did. I didn't give him a new card when it came out. So that is co-signing and giving someone access. So then you can't keep up with your credit, what your usage is, because somebody else is using it. And you might think, so I might pay $200 on the card to bring down, the bring down the balance, but he might go out there and use $50, and I ain't even aware. And I'm trying to, get rid of the balance. I'm trying to bring it down, and he busy using it. So that's the difference. Don't give him the card. Just put their name on it and keep the card in your pocket. So then when you want to pay down that debt, you can pay it down faster because you ain't got nobody using it at the same time that you you trying to pay it down. Was that so that's how you can counteract that. That's the difference in having somebody with one in hand and without one. Because if they got it in hand, they may say they're not going to use it, but it's too easy. to pull it out their pocket and use it, especially when they ain't making the payments.
That's a good point. It's a good point. It may be hard to say it sometimes to your children when they want you to co-sign for something. They trying to get something the first time, but you know, you may have to do it. It's hard to
Yeah.
say no, I can't co-sign because
Yes.
you know that's your child. But it's easy to tell somebody else that when they want you to co-sign. Nope, nope, will not do it. You don't understand credit. All right, great job. And next solution is to convert your rental payment history. Now, a lot of people may not have a home yet. They're trying to get to that point, and they've been renting for a long, long time. So they really don't have a lot of credit history. So one of the things you can do is there are certain programs out here that are credit rental reporting services, and they will work with you and your landlord to report your rent as credit. And some of them go back, maybe what, 2, 3 years, maybe I forgot. Can't remember at the moment. But some of them will go back in time and report it as a rental history, a credit history. So that's two things you can do. You can become an authorized user, or if you've been renting for a long time, you can go back and turn that into credit history. Any comments?
Yeah, that's very powerful, Greg. This gives people an opportunity with those two strategies, authorized user and the convert your rental payment history, so they can report that, that good history. That gives you a great chance of, moving forward, to get those big ticket items such as, automobile and eventually moving into your own home. So that's very powerful. Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else want to expand? Let's expound on that.
So again, let's look at the action steps for this week. Become an authorized user. Ask a family member or friend with a credit card that they've had for a long time with positive payment history. You really want somebody that has positive payment history to add you as an authorized user. And make sure you tell them, hey, look, you do not have to give me the card. Tear it up, cut it up, whatever you want to do when you receive it. Don't give me the card. Make sure the card has low credit utilization. That's another thing we need to check out when you become an authorized user. All right. And if you're a renter, contact the credit rental reporting company and get your rent converted into credit. Now, in our system, we have links to some good rental reporting agencies. Get with us, become a member, join the crew, get in the community. We'll have all of this for you that'll help you improve your credit. Mike, Kim?
Oh, well,
Oops,
Greg,
I was on. I was on mute. Yes, yes,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah, that is so such a good thing to do. Right. I had when I was renting, I had it on my credit thing and it was updating. So it's good if you're a renter to have that on there.
Amen. Hey, when did they start the rental conversion uh this situation? I can't. Did anybody have any a rough idea
It's
when they started this program?
it's been about, I think we didn't know about it at first, Mike, but it's been out there. So I've been knowing about 6 years.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
but
I
I
knew.
think it was out
Uh-huh.
there before then. But we always the last one to know something.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's just like, authorized users, and how you can, they have some programs where you can be an authorized user, but we the last to know, you know.
Mm.
So, but like that's what we're doing now. We're just trying to teach, other people on how to, improve their credit score and stuff by things that we've learned in the past few years.
And
Mhm.
imagine, and I don't think we touched on it, but you can start them out really young as being an authorized user.
Yes, you
So it
can.
depends on the credit card.
Right. I know I
Imagine your
did.
child gets to college and they've already got 7 years of good credit history, and they just 18.
Mm. Wow.
Think they might be able to get in a good place to stay when they get to college? You think they might have a nice car when they get to college?
Absolutely. Because credit is king. We do know that. Mm.
Hey,
That's good stuff.
that's why you want to stay connected. You, in any aspect of your life, if you're trying to get somewhere, you want to stay connected with people doing what you want to do, or going where you want to go, or there where you want to be. So just
Mm.
stay connected, in a community like this, and you'll be surprised what you learn, and you'll be surprised how you'll improve your financial situation.
Hey, Greg and everybody, how y'all today?
I Miss Bertha.
Uh,
Hey,
and these things the rich already knew, you know, and
Mhm.
they taught their kids, these things.
Right.
But our people, our family didn't know anything about it. Even us, we didn't find out until later, you know. So they already knew about these
Mhm.
things, and they didn't want us to know, really.
Right.
Because they wanted to keep us in bondage. Like the Bible say, the rich rule it over the poor. So they
Right.
didn't want us to know these things because they knew once we got a hold of it, we was gonna
Mhm.
be bad.
Right.
We was gonna start applying these things and doing them too. So yeah, yeah, you know.
That's
What
an
they say,
exact.
the lack of knowledge, it really costs you.
Mhm.
My people are
That's the
destroyed
advantage
for
that
lack of knowledge.
Yeah, the lack of knowledge really mess you up.
Mhm.
it's so many ways that my econ has really benefited us. You know what I'm saying? And the bad thing about it is that only so many people gonna listen. You know, it's the people that get it, and they'll get this because if they talk to us or be a part of this, then they learn so much and they can improve so much on their financial wellness. And I mean,
Mhm.
I could. I just talked to one of my associates, been with me almost from the beginning, and her mom gets it, and my mother gets it. And they're in their 80s,
Mhm.
but I can't get my siblings, involved. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. It's the mind. I think it's the mindset. You just, some people just don't really get it, but some people do. And our
What?
mothers,
What?
it's like it's a little crazy because they're in their 80s and they like, my mother was like, "You got my stuff for my econ? You do my taxes?" And then my girlfriend been paying for her mother's my econ loan. She said, "I ain't paying for your my econ no more. You keep go ahead and pay. I'll just send you a check every month." She said, "I want to stay here." So they get it. But sometimes some of the generations are missed. They're just not getting it. They're just not getting it.
yep.
Well,
And
Kim, it's in the Bible. It says that when it comes to uh, in your a prophet or person who has skill and expertise in certain areas has no honor in their own home, and that's what that means. Your close family members are not going to honor or see your genius or your skill or your expertise and some of the wisdom and knowledge that you have in certain areas. So that's God talked to us about that one.
yes, he does. So it's about
Mm,
everything when it comes to finances.
yeah.
All righty. I think that's it. We do have Ms. Kim Hampton has something she want to share with us also, and I'm gonna let her take over.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you can make it, and those that's online, and then those that'll listen later. Today is March the 21st. I don't know how many of you are LLC owners as business members that have LLCs. We have a few on the call that are. For those that are, about 6, 7 months ago, there was this action came out, and it wasn't widespread. Well, it wasn't. It didn't hit it. I think hit the media like it should have, and for people to really know what was going on. So it was called BOI, Beneficial Ownership Information. So it came out, and everyone was supposed to register. Anyone that had an LLC was supposed to register their business by a certain date. Okay. When it got close to that date, some lawyers, some judges stepped in and put an injunction on that because they're like, what is this? What are you looking for? Why are these people having to do this? Right? Because what else it entailed is that if you didn't file by that date, then you would be fined $500 something a day. A day. Okay. So there was an injunction which put a halt to it, but then it opened back up. The injunction was lifted, it opened back up, then it was closed back down again. Well, lo and behold, it's back again. And today is the deadline for people that have an LLC to file a BOI. So I'm gonna say what the website is. Hold on one second. Should I put it in the chat? Do we have a chat? We do.
Yeah,
we?
we have a chat.
Okay, I will put it in the chat, but I'm gonna say it before I put it in there. It's https:// B as in boy, O as in October, I as in Indian, efiling.fincen.gov. And that's where you go to file if you're LLC. Now I do it for a lot of my tax clients. And I sent out messages to them like months and months ago, a couple of messages every time it opened up, every time it closed, and sometimes people read things and sometimes they don't. And I figured I needed to jump on here and at least put this out here because it may help somebody and save someone from having to pay that $500 some. And they're talking about daily. I think it's 563, but once you go in here and read about it, it'll tell you how much it is. So I think this is very important for our LLC owners to get this done. I was up late last night doing some, and I'm doing them now. I was doing it while I was on this call because I got quite a few more to do for some of my clients. But I just wanted to get the word out there because it may be people that's online on YouTube that see it, and hopefully before midnight tonight, or maybe even they see it tomorrow, they can still do their paperwork and they just be find the $563, and I think that's the amount. So that's what I want everybody to know. And then also, I've been hearing from some family members that I guess the loans have opened. You know how you put a forbearance on your loans? I guess for some people it's like been lifted. And so instead of it being just a few loans, it's the way they have it is they have a bunch of loans. So like one of my clients called me and it's like she has 18 student loans and she didn't continue her forbearance, so she was late. So it's like she had 18 late payments. So, it dropped her score from the high 7s to 5 something. So, people keep up with your credit report. Keep an eye on your credit reports. Keep an eye on these student loans. Even before they were losing employees, it was still hard to get in touch with them, the different services. Now, because I put in for loan forgiveness because I'm a government employee, and before I had been told no, I couldn't, but whoever I talked to before just didn't tell me, hey, you had to make a few more payments, right? So I end up paying 10 times over, 10 more payments than I was supposed to pay, right? So, but I kept getting a message from a healer. Do you need help with your student loan? So while I was at home in Ohio a few months ago, last month, I stayed on the phone for 4 hours and 11 minutes. This is before they got rid of everybody. 4 hours and 11 minutes for Mo Healer to answer the phone. Okay. And she says, "Oh no, Miss Hampton, you don't owe anything. Your loans is forgiven." I said, "Well, why do I keep getting these emails?" I said, "You send me one email, say they're forgiven. The next email I get say, do you need help? You're behind in your loan payments, right?" So just think of what it's going to be like now. You got to stay on top of this, and you have to have the patience and have the time. All I did was set that phone down on speaker and started doing taxes while I was waiting for them to come. I walked away from it once and almost scared myself to death because I thought I was going to lose my place, right? I was like, oh no, I've been on hold for too long for me to lose my place. So you got to stay on top of this stuff, because even though she told me that weeks ago, I still get a message saying I'm behind. But she says, don't worry, we're going to fix that. Well, guess what? This was before all this other stuff happened, and they're losing their employees. They're cutting the people that handle the loans. So our people are going to be in trouble with the credit. This is credit time. We were doing credit. This is affecting people's credit, because it's hard to get somebody on the phone. That was like weeks ago. Can you imagine now? That was 4 hours. I waited. They probably ain't going to even answer the phone. So just people that are hearing this, make sure you just stay on top of it. Make sure you check your credit reports often. Check them often. Because just by procrastinating or just getting too busy, your credit score could go down so fast just by not paying attention.
Great.
That's all I have, guys. Oh, it's a V. Get the V after the G-O. Gov. G-O-V.
Oh, G-O. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Wow. Okay.
That's it right there.
Hey, there you have it.
Man, that's a big wake-up call.
Yes, it is. Wow, scary.
Important tip. Important information, so take heed. Things are going fast and furious right now. And you don't want to get caught up in it unexpectedly, thinking it's affecting everybody else.
Keep it up there for a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, no problem. But yeah, it's a lot of little things going on that can affect your credit scores and everything else.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like it will, but it's a lot of little organizations and companies and departments that come down to affect your everyday life.
Yeah. All those people that lost their jobs, did they have an emergency fund? That's the next thing we got to focus on and getting people to get an emergency fund.
We've been talking about that for 20 years.
Yeah. But not until I got my econ did I really get started, thanks to Ivy.
Right.
Man. That is an unforeseen occurrence.
Tamika, you have any questions, thoughts? I think Miss Bertha's off because she's got her call. That's it. Okay. No more
Everybody
comments.
good?
No more questions?
To get space to write it down. Just a minute.
Okay. Mike, you can go ahead and close us out whenever we get a chance.
Okay, that's right. Okay, well, we want to thank everybody for joining us again for another edition of Free Financial Fridays, where we are doing the Credit Repair Challenge. And we'll be back here next Friday at the same time next time here on Free Financial Friday. So take care. See you all then. Take care and God bless.
Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you. And I hope everybody heeds what you mentioned earlier.
Me too. Trying to reach as many people as I can.
Man, that's what it's all about.
Mr. Griffin, did you get that down?
I'm trying to do it right now. Oh,
Boy.
I'm trying to do it right now.
Okay.
I'll go back,
Okay,
put it back up
hold,
there.
hold on. Let me
Back
get
up,
out of
Greg.
the
Yeah.
Zoom. I mean the